My girlfriend just gave birth to our first child. I know I am not the biological father, and I revealed I knew as soon as she gave birth. I found out when she was about 6 months along. The guy, Brian, approached me at work. "Are you Sarah's boyfriend?" I said yeah and asked what he wanted. He said he was sorry and that he had slept with her and swore he didn't know that she was with someone. I don't believe that. He then pulled out his phone to show a text between them. They had been sleeping or linking up for at least a year. Then she found out that she was pregnant and they came to an agreement to just pretend the baby was mine. In return, she wouldn't lose her perfect life and he wouldn't be responsible for a baby. I knew it was weird. We had been having problems trying for a baby and all of a sudden she got pregnant so easily. He explained that he was thinking about it and he recently became a Christian. He said that he couldn't live his life knowing that I was living a lie while his child didn't know their real father. So yeah, I told him I'd keep in touch and to not say that he said anything just yet. I've had a lot of time to think, but ultimately I decided to wait until she gave birth, to hurt her in the most vulnerable moment. I'll spare the details, but she went into labor, baby was born, and was taken to the NICU to be monitored for a bit. What should have been a beautiful moment of me holding my baby was the most heartbreaking time of my life. Just knowing he was not mine hurt me. Once she was sewn up and comfortable, I started packing up my stuff to leave. She asked where I was going and I just told her. I know I'm not the baby's father. You can act all shocked, but I know. Just ask Brian to come. I'm positive he'll sign the birth certificate. Then I left. She's been calling my phone over and over, even sending texts as I type this, and has gotten her sister to call me a few times. It was hard pretending these last few months, but I think I'm satisfied. I feel really heartbroken though. I was planning to propose to her on the day our baby was born. I was gonna make her the happiest woman ever. Oh well, I'm gonna go get shit-faced now.
So when I was 16, I was on Japanese television and I confessed to my crush. I went to high school in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan. And as many of you know, I had a huge crush on this guy. Let's call him Takeru-kun. I liked Takeru-kun because he was nice to me and he was one of my best friends. The only problem was everyone else also liked Takeru-kun. He was just one of those guys. And by one of those guys, I mean he was one of the 7 guys in my class of 38 people. 31 girls, 7 boys. Yeah, he was the only acceptable one. It makes sense, right? So after basically a year of being in love with this guy and everyone in the class knowing it but him, I took a trip with a couple of my friends to Tokyo. While in Tokyo, we got pulled aside by this woman who came up to me and she said, "Nihongo shabăremasu ka?" And I said, "Hai, chotto hanasemasu." She asked me if I would like to be in an interview for Japanese television. And I was like, heck yes, absolutely. Like, I'm an exchange student. I don't know if I'm ever coming back to Japan. So she takes me over, there's a whole camera crew. I find out it's for Zip TV, which is like morning news in Japan that literally everyone watches, including all of my host families. And in my mind, I'm like, I got this. Like, I've been in Japan for a year at this point. I speak Japanese. Any basic traveler question they could ask me, I have this in the bag. どこから来ましたか?アメリカです。好きな食べ物なんですか?とんかつ。身長いくつ? 174です。So anyway, I'm like, I have this in the bag. No problem. I've heard every basic question you could possibly ask me at this point. I can handle this. They set me up, they mic me up. The first thing this woman asks me is, 好きな俳優は誰ですか? What? And I'm like, okay, just answer the question, I guess. アメリカ人ですか?それか日本人ですか? They want me to answer American first, so I'm like, Chris Pine. Chris Pine のどこが好きですか?顔かな?彼のどこがかっこいいと思いますか?強いて言えば、目の色とか、まつげとか、顔の形とかかな? I'm just rolling with this at this point because I have no idea where this is going. And now I'm realizing they didn't tell me what this interview is for. So then they ask me, それはタイプですか? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Then the interviewer asked me, okay, well, is your type the same in Japan and in America? And I was like, I mean, I guess. My type is my type, so そんな変わらないかな? And then they say, 日本人もかっこいいと思いますか? And I said, yeah. And she said, 近くにかっこいいと思う人いますか? And I was like, yeah, of course. 誰ですか? And I'm like, wait, you want me to like straight up dox who I think is hot on camera right now? And there's a guy I think who is really cute, but he's not in my class. And they're like, okay, well, what club is he in? I'm like, what's his name? I'm like, mm. So they're like, okay, who do you know that you think is cool? And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if he's like the hottest person, but the guy I have a crush on, everybody seems to think he's really, really attractive. So I guess we'll just throw his name out there since we're friends and maybe he'll forgive me. So there I go. I say, 同じクラスのタケルくんがかっこいいと思います. And they made me say this exact line on television. Then they asked me, what do I like about him? So of course, I have to list what I like about his facial features on television at 16 years old. This is traumatizing. After the interview, they ask me to show a picture of him. So I do. And they say, かっこいいですね. 会ってみたいです. They want to meet him. And they want to interview him so that he can be on the show with me. And I asked him if he wanted to do it. And you might be wondering, Abby, how does one 16-year-old tell another 16-year-old that you said they were hot on television, so now they have to be on TV with you? Well, I'll tell you how. I asked, hey, テレビに出たいと思ったことある? And he said yes. So, long story short, we had an entire day of filming where they made him do so many cringy things. Like, they made him put a toothpick on his eyelash to prove that it was long because I said I like long eyelashes. 1 week later, that airs on television and everyone we know sees it. The entire school thinks that we're dating. Only the problem is, I was rejected a month ago. We're still friends. I still have the video clips. We will never ever speak of it again.
Story time of the time my entire high school saw my boobs and a video of me in the shower that I had no idea existed. So that I do not get sued, I will be changing names from the story, but some of you weird fuckers who did this to me in high school follow me, so I hope that made your stomach drop. I do unfortunately have to give a trigger warning for child porn. If you understand what I'm saying, I was underage when this happened to me. This all started my 8th grade year at my first year ever in public school on New Year's Eve. I was with 4 of my closest girlfriends, but only one of them needs to really be talked about during this story. We are going to call her Ella. So at the end of the night rolls around, we were all having a good time, and I go to take a shower, which I feel like is a pretty normal thing to do. So now we're gonna skip ahead a year to my freshman year of high school. Like I said, that was in 8th grade. This will make sense in a second. So it's my freshman year, it's right at the beginning of the school year. I'm pretty petrified, as I feel like most freshmen in high school are. I had just made like the varsity cheerleading team. I was trying to make friends. It was very overwhelming, like for that age. Cheer practice one day, it's one of our first practices of the season. And one of my teammates comes up to me, and I will forever love her for letting me know before somebody else did. And she's like, Kendall, this is gonna, like, why is there a video of you going around of you in the shower? And I'm like, what do you mean? I've never taken a video of myself in the shower. I was like 15 at the time. I just remember looking at her and my heart dropping and being like, what are you talking about? There's no way. It can't be me. This must be someone else. And she was like, no, Kendall, like I'm 100% it was you. We were at my birthday dinner last night, and one of the boys that was sitting at the table with us airdropped it to the entire table at Chili's. This is where it all started. I didn't really know what to do at this point. I was petrified of my coach finding out, of my mom. I'm like flipping through every file in my head. I'm like, did I do that? But like, why would I do that? I was so fucking confused. Still being extremely confused. I didn't want to like lose my place on this team. I continued on with practice, went about my day until the next day at school. I remember sitting in class. It was a normal day. I was trying not to think about it too much because I was like, she has to have me confused with someone else. There's no way that it's me. That would be until every single person who had their airdrop on in the classroom got an airdrop except for me, and the entire class just turned around and just fucking stared at me, and I knew exactly what was going on. And I have never been so... I still sweat to this day talking about it. I remember not asking the teacher if I could go to the bathroom, anything. I just ran out of the room, ran to the bathroom, and I remember sitting on the bathroom floor just absolutely sobbing, and I'm pretty positive that I stayed there for the rest of the day on the bathroom floor. So I left school that day. It was at this point where I just started getting absolutely bombarded with texts from my friends, people that I wasn't really friends with, and I didn't know what to do because I had never seen this video. I didn't remember taking this video. I was convinced that there was just no way it was me. It had to be someone else. I truly don't think I've ever been so confused in a situation still to this day in my entire life. So the next day at school, I'm sitting at lunch and I didn't even want to be there. I was begging my mom not to make me go to school. She's like, why do you not want to go to school? Like, what's wrong with you? You have to go to cheer, like blah, blah, blah. And this video gets airdropped in the school cafeteria. And this is when things really, if you didn't think they were going downhill already, this is where it starts to go downhill. Again, I run out of the room and I go and I sit on the bathroom floor at my school and just sob for the rest of the day until cheer practice. And this is the day where I knew that it was just getting bad and that everything was kind of about to go to shit. And this was when my cheer coach pulled me aside at practice and was like, why am I having so many people come to me telling you that there's a video of you naked in the shower? Also, still at this point, I had still never seen this video. Nobody would show it to me. It was like people were being so mean about it that they just liked it, that they could see it and like hold it over my head and not have me see it. Like I had no idea still. I was still fucking confused. So at this point, I just absolutely break down to my cheer coach. I still love and talk to her to this day. And she sent me home, and at that point I was like, I think I need to tell my mom, because I honest to God don't ever remember taking this video. I like need to tell somebody what's going on, because this is like not okay. Another thing that I forgot to mention that happened to me is the day when I left the cafeteria and I was running to the bathroom, there was a boy who was a couple years older than me, and he had a bottle of water in his hand, and he threw water at me and asked if I needed to go take a shower. And like it was just so bad. And so when my mom came and picked me up, I had a mental breakdown, and she didn't let me like go to school for a few days until we figured out what was going on or like what to do. At this point, I did know who was spreading the video the most. It was it was like a guy I had like talked to in like literally the 8th grade, and then another one was a guy that I like was very involved with from the 8th grade, like really all throughout high school, because I'm that fucking stupid. I forgave him for all of this. Like I am so mentally ill, it hurts. So the only thing that my mom and I really knew to do at this point was to just go to the school and see if like the principal or someone on the board, like, and this, as you can imagine, is so mortifying to go to the board about this. But we hadn't seen the video. We didn't know if it was actually me or not in it. Like, we didn't know what to do. At this point, I just wanted to move like out of state. Like I was like, I want to switch schools. I was so fucking mortified and embarrassed without even seeing the video that you just wait. So my mom calls the principal, and surely enough, when she gets on the phone with him, he happens to tell her, oh my goodness, I was gonna call you at the end of the day today. I needed to talk to you about this. Like it had already made its way to him. Like everyone knew about this. I swear to God, everyone. He had another parent, I don't know who, send it to him, and so now I'm mortified that the principal has either seen my boobs or like some other girl's boobs that I don't fucking know. So we go in for a meeting at the school with the principal, some people from the board, like the superintendent, the lady at the front desk for some reason, the security guard that was like always outside the front door of our high school, my mom and I, like so many people in this fucking room. And keep in mind, I still had not seen this fucking video. So we're in this meeting and they start playing the video, and I immediately knew what was going on. Every single puzzle piece connected in my head in that moment, and I just broke down sobbing. So remember at the beginning of the video when I told you I had those 4 girlfriends, New Year's Eve, I took a shower at the end of the night? One of those weird ass bitches, what did I call her? Ella, I think? She decided to like stick her phone above the shower curtain and take a video of me showering, held on to that video for 7 or 8 months, and then one day on like a random fucking school day just decided to just blast it everywhere, sent it to one of my ex-boyfriends. He's the one who like airdropped it at Chili's. Like everything made sense, and I have never been so angry and like felt so upset at like so many people in my life. Also, mind you, there was nothing that happened between me and Ella. We were fine. We were literally still friends whenever this video started going around. Oh shit, hang on. So I will forever think she is like one of the absolute weirdest people I've ever met in my entire life for this. So at this point, I had 2 options. Either deal with it or I could press charges, but here was the gag about that. If I pressed charges on Ella, I had to press charges on my ex-boyfriend, the boyfriend that I had talked to in the 8th grade, everyone who airdropped it, everyone who was like, I was gonna have to press charges against like upwards of like 10 to 15-year-olds. Like I just didn't want to put people on a sex offender list at that early on in your life. Like I couldn't do it, so I didn't press charges. So that's pretty much all that happened. I just kind of decided to suck it up and leave it alone. After I understood what the video was and what was happening, that was when I could, you know, go to people and be like, hey, like actually this is what happened. Like she's a fucking weirdo, and she ended up, I want to say either like moving like a lot of counties away or like moving out of state or something, but like the table is completely turned. But people still are weird about it to me, which is just bizarre. I unfortunately couldn't, you know, go to everyone who had seen that video because it was literally hundreds of people. And, you know, tell my side of the story and like, hey, like I didn't do that on purpose. Like I never knew that was taken, and I was also 15 in that video. So I shit you not, one of the last times I was home in Georgia, I was out at an Athens bar, and a guy who I did not even know, he apparently went to a surrounding high school of mine, came up to me and was like, yo, I remember that video of you in the shower, like when we were in high school. And I just looked at him and was like, you're a fucking weirdo, because I was 15 years old and I have never seen a man look so stunned, but like that, like what the fuck is wrong with you? And like what a weird conversation starter. Sorry, I know this video is kind of long, but I think my point with all this is if you've ever had something like this happen to you, know that it's not just you, it's not your fault, it's humiliating, but it's not really something to be humiliated about. It wasn't your fault. It's gonna be okay, I promise. I live a very happy, fulfilling life now. This does not haunt me anymore the way that it used to. You're gonna be okay.
Okay, story time of the first time I ever got drunk with a video at the end to give evidence, okay? Of course, nothing I do has to be like just, okay. So I was at a work Christmas party for a place I used to work at, and I'm not going to say the place that it was, but like if you know where I used to work, then I used to work. It's not Lululemon, it's the other one, okay? I was 17, so I was a bit of a late bloomer here in Australia. And I went to this Christmas party, and like all the people at the time that worked there were a lot older than me. They're all in like their 20s and stuff, plus older. So I was like the only like kid there, except I think like one other guy. And they were all like drinking on it, like I didn't go in there expecting to do this, but like there was like all this alcohol that I never seen before, and I was finally someone without like my parents and stuff like that, so just like YOLO, right? So I started to like have drinks, and I didn't understand how drinking worked. Like I didn't understand what a standard was. I didn't know how much to drink. Like I didn't get it. So I remember just like having bits and sips of everyone's drinks, and then I started to get a little bit rowdy and like I was like, oh my god, like I'm just gonna make a drink on my own. So I went to the table. I got like one of those cups. I filled the cup 90%, like this much of scotch, of straight scotch, and like a splash of Coke. I was literally walking around with a massive thing of scotch. I remember, like, you didn't give a shit. Like, it's like when you're a kid, like, you don't even think about the thing, like, what it tastes like. You're just like, oh my god, I'm doing this. So I was drinking. I didn't realize, like, I was getting a lot more loud, a lot more, everything is so funny, whatever. And then people started to be like, Annalise, I think you're a little bit drunk. And I was like, oh my god, am I? Like, this is crazy. I remember there was a guy at the workplace, and he was like a bit older than me, and I was like leaning on him, and I was like, I am not okay. But like I was like, look, he was cute. I was like kind of like vibing, and I'm like, now that I look back, I'm like, I was like 17, like leaning on you, like maybe that would be weird. Anyways, and everyone was like, oh no, you're fine. But then it started to get towards the end of the night when I was gonna get picked up. My uncle was gonna pick me up, and I was like laughing and tipping over, and my manager was telling me off and stuff, like, what are you doing? And then the girls, like, I have like a full thing recorded on my phone, like on the audio app with like the full explicit story, name drops, a lot of other stuff that I can't mention on here that was like happening. And like the girls took me in the bathroom, like, Annalise, you need to sober up. Like, do you want something to sober you up? And I was like, no, like, I'm good, like, I'll be fine. They're like, are you sure? They're like, here, just eat some bread, eat something. And I'm like, drink some water. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So when I started to get in my uncle's car, and I had like a Christmas gift, we all got Google Home minis that year. And I got in my uncle's car. I remember I got in it and I like fell into it sideways, like, oh, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He started driving, and like I'd never felt drunk before, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I like leaned to the left, and my head hit the window, and I dropped the Google Mini box like on the ground. The present box, he's like, are you all right? Like, do you want to get that? I'm like, nah, just leave it, it's fine. Like, as if anyone would like drop a present on the ground and be like, nah, just fucking leave it. Like, you'd place something on the ground, not like drop it anyway. He's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Comes look back, Uncle Bill, did you know what was going on? Did you realize? I was like what was happening? Anyways, I got home and started walking to the door. I was toppling over, and now I start shitting myself because I got strict parents, bro. Like, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get fucked up. But the front door, my mum straight away says to me, I can smell the alcohol on her. I was like, I started bawling my eyes out because I'm like drunk as fuck, and I'm like scared for my life. I start sobbing. My older brother comes, I start hugging my older brother. I'm like, please, like, don't make me go to her, like, I'm scared. My mum was like, oh, we'll deal with you in the morning. Looking back now, mum, can you, like, I'm not gonna, no offense, but I'm not gonna do that to my kid. Like, I'm not gonna freak my kid out. My mum was, like, kind of telling me off, and then I, like, remember I walked out to the kitchen, and I leaned over the kitchen table, and I was lying, like, my whole body on the kitchen table, like, crying, like, please don't get me in trouble. And I was, like, bawling my eyes out. She took me through, she's like, I'm not gonna get you in trouble, we'll talk tomorrow. Like, why would you say that? Why would you be saying we'll talk tomorrow? Like, obviously I'm gonna freak the fuck out. I was hyperventilating. They brought me a bucket. I started vomiting. I was lying in my bed crying. I've got a video, I'll insert it, of me wrapped in cocoon, bawling my eyes, and my mum's like, it's fine. And like the next day I was like grounded I was like hungover, vomiting, and then I was grounded for like 3 weeks. And then like there was a whole thing, my manager being like, I didn't realize that you were underage drinking, whatever. And I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, you're like, do you want me to speak to your mom? I think my mom's better. And I'm like, girl, no, don't make a big deal. Like, it was my own choice. Like, I've got my own autonomy. I'm like 17, babe. Anyway, then I was like grounded for like 3 weeks, and then I didn't drink again until I was like, I think like 18 in 1 week or something. I didn't even drink on my 18th birthday because I was like traumatized from like getting in trouble. But yeah.
We're about a week into 2024, and I already have a new arch nemesis. She's about 67 years old. She wears a straw sun hat that I hate, and she's a landlord. We'll call her Tamara. One thing about me, every season of life, I find a new nemesis. And I understand that that's an issue that I should probably bring up with a therapist, but I can't afford one. So if you tell me to go get one, you're going to become my new nemesis, okay? Anyway, Tamara, she's really grinding my gears. I'm looking for a new place to live, okay? And I found this home that I really liked on Zillow. Guess who it belongs to? Damn. I reach out to her. I say, hello, may I come see this home, please? She says, yes. She's very kind on the phone. Threw me off the scent. I show up. She doesn't like what she sees. To be fair, I'm wearing a non-traditional outfit. Big baggy orange pants and a big baggy band t-shirt. I was trying to look like Billie Eilish, but I think I just look like I escaped from prison on the bottom half and the dark part of the 90s on the top half. Anyway, Tamara goes, who's moving in here with you? I say, just me. She goes, huh. I said, okay, good start. I'm taking a tour of the home. It's a weird layout, 3-bed. All of the rooms are about the same size. So I say, which room do people normally use as the master? She goes, well, people who move in here are normally a part of a family with kids, so I don't know what you would do as a single person. Okay, pitch. Salt in the wound. Anyway, then she goes, I also don't know how you would fill this house with furniture just being all by yourself. What is it to you? I might sleep on a cot. I might sleep on top of a doghouse like Snoopy. What do you care if I'm paying my rent? Anyway, on and on she insults me over and over, questioning me. I got answers. By the end of it, I'm toe to toe with her. I thought, I'm either about to beat this woman to a pulp with my words, or make her like me. I went with the latter. I started making jokes. I started complimenting. I hated it. But it worked. She started laughing. By the end of this exchange, she was my new best friend. She goes, well, if this house is not for you, I actually have another one over by the lake. It's a little bit smaller and cheaper. I say, oh, is it? She goes, yeah, I don't have the keys right now, but if you go look at it and you like the outside, I'll show it to you tomorrow. I'll give you a tour. I say, okay. Thank you, Tamara. I leave. I thought, what an odd afternoon that was. I drive over to this house. It's perfect. It's so cute. It's the quaintest little house I've ever seen. Set back off the street. Oh, green, lush. Wow. By the lake in Dallas. So I text her, not 30 minutes after she's encouraged me to go look at this house. I say, hi, Tamara, I really like this house. I would love to see it tomorrow. She texts me back. She says, I'm busy until next week. I said, oh. Change of tune. Interesting. Then I say, okay, I'll reach out to you closer to then. She goes, don't bother. She said, this house will be listed with a management company by that time. Please do not contact me again. I should have sent her a selfie. Said, Tamara, it's me. So odd. So I thought, okay. So I lie in wait for a week, watching for my prey, searching for this house to be listed with a management company. It is not so. It's still on Zillow. Guess what changed? The rent decreased. She's desperate. Why doesn't she want me? Guess what else changed? She added 200 square feet to the home. Where'd that come from? The pits of her mind. Her lying mind. Tamara.
Am I the astronaut for telling my mother-in-law if she expects me to get a DNA test for my son, that I want her to get a DNA test for my husband? I, 30 female, met my husband, Stephen, 32, at a friend's party. That friend happened to be his cousin. We instantly connected and started dating not long after. We have been happily married for 5 years now and have a 4-month-old son. I met my mother-in-law at his uncle's funeral. He asked me to attend in support of him. Before we left, his cousin warned me about the mother-in-law. He said she wasn't the nicest person, had impossibly high standards to meet, and can be very judgmental. So don't take it personally, as she is like that with everyone. I did ask my husband, and he agreed that mother-in-law can be quite judgmental, but not to worry, that he will be there for me. I felt like they gave me the sugar-coated version of her because she was terrible. She made a scene about bringing a stranger to a family funeral, but my husband cut her off and said his aunt, who was his uncle's widow, said he could. She spent the rest of the funeral giving me nasty looks and making passive-aggressive comments. She made a scene at our wedding, but that's a different story of its own. But after minimal contact with my mother-in-law, my husband eventually got around to telling her that I was pregnant. I expected her to be angry and have a go at him, but she surprised us both and was the complete opposite. She was excited about being a grandmother. She was congratulating us. Her attitude did a complete turn, and I grudgingly allowed her to visit. When it was time to give birth to my son, she wanted to see my son being born, but I refused. Oh, here we go. That's when her ugly side reared its ugly head again, and she caused a scene and was thrown out. What, at the hospital? Ooh. I refused to let her visit us at home. My husband agreed, but she rang crying and apologizing. She said that she was just overwhelmed about being a grandmother and her emotions got the better of her. Against my better judgment, I relented and said okay. When she first held him, she looked at me and said that he was beautiful. I went into the kitchen to get us a drink, and then I could hear my husband telling her to get out. I went back in, and she started yelling that he needed to get the baby tested because he doesn't look like anyone in their family. He kicked her out. She took to social media and told everybody that I cheated on my husband and that my husband needs to get a DNA test to prove he was the dad. She got a lot of attention for that, so I made my own post and said I'll get a test when she gets a test for her son. That just made everything worse. She rang up my husband telling him to take it down. He just hung up on her. Everyone is divided and questioning my husband's paternity since she had such a strong reaction to it. Now even my husband is starting to wonder and making me feel like I went too far. I'm wondering if I'm the asshole for saying that.
My husband used my house savings to buy a yacht. Story time. I am a nurse and I've been married to my husband Steve for coming up 2 years now. Recently we bought a very small house for quite a decent price actually, but it needed a lot of work doing. Going far as to say it's in bad shape would be the biggest understatement. It is in the worst shape. At the moment, I'm currently saving up for the bathroom renovation. The bathroom is a mess, and so far I've managed to save up like 2,500 quid. Steve doesn't earn as much as I do, so he chips in a little bit every month. And when I say a little bit, I mean like 20 quid. So now on to the issue. He asked me if he could use some of our bathroom renovation money for, wait for it, his friend's welcome home party. I was like, listen hon, it's kind of an urgent situation here, so no, that bathroom money is fixed, you won't be getting any of it. And he said that he understood. However, yesterday I was going through our emails and found out that Steve has rented a yacht for the day as part of our friend's welcome home party, and it cost him £2,000. I confronted Steve about this and he says that it's the joint account, which means that it's also part of his money and he can do what he wants with it. But bearing in mind that Steve actually hadn't put any money into that joint savings account for a very, very long time, and all of the money in it at this moment in time was mine. So what do you think? Am I the arsehole here or am I just overreacting?
Am I in the wrong for breaking up with my girlfriend over her younger sister? I broke up with my girlfriend, 27 female, 5 days ago due to her sister, 24 female's behavior. Me and my ex have been dating for 2 years. During this time, her sister has come on to me multiple times. I'm not completely sure about the amount of times, but it was almost every time I saw her. I've told the sister multiple times to leave me alone and to stop the behavior, as I don't do the cheating thing, but that did nothing. I have spoken to my ex about it multiple times. She even caught her sister in the act of trying to lock me in a room with herself. Nothing changed. I have spoken to their parents about it, and that the behavior of the youngest daughter is unacceptable, and again, nothing happened. I'm not going to lie and say the sister was ugly. No, she's actually really beautiful, but I'm 100% sure that I haven't let her on or anything. Even when I greeted her, I gave her a side hug every single time. I have never been in a room alone with her or anything. I just kept my distance from her at all costs. I don't have her on Insta, Facebook, I don't even have her cell phone number. We've never shared a text or phone call. Her family even gave me a stupid nickname, the puppy, because I follow my girlfriend around everywhere. The only reason I follow her is because her sister's behavior seemed to stop when she's around. I've told her that I'll stop going over to her parents' house because that's where the problems are and I don't want to be part of it. She didn't like the idea and sulked around the house for weeks because I didn't want to go with her. No point in time did I tell her that she can't go, just that I wasn't going to go with her. I relented 5 days ago and went over. We had too much to drink and slept over at the parents' house that night. The morning I woke up to the sister completely naked in bed next to me. I stormed out of the room and down to the kitchen and told her that we're done in front of the parents. She was silent for what seemed like minutes and started to break down asking why. All I said was go look in that room, and I stormed out of the house and got in my car. It took less than 2 minutes, then the calls started to come in, not just from her, but her parents as well. I didn't answer any of the calls. When I got home 40 minutes later, I had 108 missed calls from her and her parents and 36 messages. The messages from her parents just apologized to me saying they thought I was joking about the sister every time I brought it up and they didn't believe me. All I got from my ex was how sorry she was and that she'll handle it and it'll never happen again. I shouldn't leave. We can work through this. However, I'm just done. She's even gotten my family involved and our friends. 90% of everyone is on her side saying that I'm overreacting and that I'm the a-hole for dumping her. We can sort this out. I sent her a message saying that she has until Sunday to get her things out of my house. I'm just done. Surprisingly, she's not sugarcoated anything and explained everything correctly to everyone, but I'm still in the wrong for leaving her. Her parents in their messages are angry at me for hurting their daughter. My family is angry because they love her. Our friends are angry because I refuse to take her back and saying I'm overreacting. Am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for divorcing my wife after she terminated the pregnancy? I'm 27 male and my wife's 27 female, have been together for 4.5 years and married for 2. We've discussed kids before marriage and both agreed that we wanted kids. A couple weeks after we got married, we started trying for a baby and she got pregnant, but was having doubts about kids at the time. We discussed it a bit and she said that she didn't feel ready yet. I didn't push back and let her make the decision since she's the one who's pregnant. 3 weeks ago, she got pregnant again. I was excited, but she still wasn't sure. She said she wanted to wait a little longer, and I tried asking her for a timeline, but she just said that when she feels ready, she'd let me know. I asked her if she still wants kids at all, and she gave me a non-answer where she just said she doesn't know if she wants kids anymore, and wouldn't elaborate. I didn't want to pressure her to do anything, but I told her that I want to have kids and that I need to rethink our relationship if this is the route that she wants to go. She terminated the pregnancy and I started divorce proceedings a few weeks later. Some of our mutuals are saying that I was wrong to separate because of this, and she's called me a few times sobbing. I really want to be with her, but having kids and starting a family is really important to me, and it feels like she's been too unsure and unclear with what she wants and has been stringing me along in the process. So, am I in the wrong?